There is a kind of tired that is very hard to explain. Even when you get enough sleep, you still wake up feeling the weight of something. Even after a whole weekend of doing nothing, something inside you still feels heavy. Not in your body exactly, somewhere deeper, somewhere rest does not seem to reach. And when people ask what's wrong, you struggle to explain it. Because it isn't one catastrophic thing that broke you. It's 1,000 small things that quietly drained you over time. A slow leak, an invisible weight. This video is for the people carrying that kind of exhaustion. The kind that makes life feel heavy, even when you cannot explain why. Psychologists call this state emotional exhaustion. It is not depression, though the two can overlap. Depression is often connected to feelings of hopelessness or worthlessness. Emotional exhaustion is different. It happens when your emotional output has exceeded your emotional input for far too long. Think of it like a bank account. Every day, you make withdrawals, stress, responsibilities, managing difficult situations, suppressing how you really feel, but very few deposits. And when the withdrawals continue to outpace the deposits, something inside you begins to wear down. Not all at once, but slowly. Until one day, you look at your life and realize you have been running on empty for a very long time. What makes emotional exhaustion so difficult to recognize is that it does not always look like exhaustion. On the outside, you may still be functioning. You go to work. You smile when you're supposed to. You handle what needs to be handled. But inside, everything feels muted. Joy feels distant. Enthusiasm starts to feel like a performance. Even small tasks begin to feel heavy. This is not laziness, this is depletion. Here is what is actually happening inside your brain and body. When you live under prolonged stress, not crisis-level stress, just the constant pressure of everyday life, your nervous system slowly shifts into survival mode. It stops prioritizing pleasure and starts prioritizing protection. The reward systems in your brain begin to slow down. Dopamine, the chemical connected to motivation and pleasure, becomes harder to access. Things that once brought you joy begin to feel neutral. Things that once felt meaningful start to feel heavy. Psychologists call this anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure. It is not sadness exactly, it is emptiness. Like living in grayscale, everything is still there. The people, the routines, the moments that used to matter. But the color no longer reaches you the same way. This is not a choice, and it is not a character flaw. It is your mind trying to protect itself from further exhaustion. After carrying so much for so long, your nervous system slowly learned that constantly carrying emotional weight was becoming too much, so it began to shut certain things down. And this is often when people start saying things like, "I'm just tired of everything," not because they want to disappear, but because they want the noise to stop. The pressure, the expectations, the constant feeling of having to pretend you are okay when every day already feels heavy enough. Here is something important. People who experience emotional exhaustion are often the ones who spent too much of their life holding everything together. The ones who keep showing up even when they have nothing left to give. The ones who became so used to surviving that rest started to feel unfamiliar. Think about the world we live in. We are praised for working overtime, but rarely for slowing down. Celebrated for pushing through, but not for protecting our peace. Productivity is rewarded. Rest is treated like something you have to earn. So over time, people begin to tie their worth to how much they can produce, carry, or endure. And when the exhaustion finally becomes impossible to ignore, guilt appears almost immediately, as if resting means failing. That guilt is part of what keeps people trapped. The mind starts whispering things like, "You have not done enough yet. You can rest later. Just keep going a little longer." But here is the paradox. If you wait until you have earned rest, you may never truly allow yourself to rest at all. Because there will always be more to do, more to prove, more to fix, and so you keep running, even after you have forgotten why you started. And there is another layer to this. Beyond biological exhaustion, something deeper begins to emerge, a loss of meaning. This is when you lose touch with what gives your life purpose. Not because you don't care, but because you've been living for so long without a clear why that everything starts to feel heavy. Wake up, work, scroll, sleep, repeat. Days blur together, weeks feel like one long grey stretch of time. And slowly, quietly, you start asking a question you may not say out loud. What's the point? That question can sound hopeless, but it isn't. It's a signal, a sign that something in you is looking for more than survival. It's asking for direction, for meaning, for something real to hold on to. Psychiatrist Viktor Frankl, who survived the concentration camps, wrote that humans can endure almost any how if they have a why. And often, when people reconnect with that why, something begins to shift. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but gradually. The exhaustion starts turning into direction. Not because life becomes easier, but because it becomes meaningful again. Here is something most people overlook. Energy does not just come from sleep or nutrition, it comes from alignment. When your actions reflect your values, you feel lighter. Even difficult tasks feel meaningful. When your actions do not align with who you are, even small tasks feel impossible. This is why you can spend 12 hours on something you love and feel energized, but 2 hours on something you hate and feel destroyed. The body follows the soul. So when someone says, "I'm tired of everything," what they're often saying is, "The life I am living does not match the person I have become." And that realization, as painful as it is, can also be freeing, because it means there is something to reclaim. Not a whole new life, just small pieces of honesty, small acts of alignment, the permission to stop pretending that everything is fine when it is not. This is not about overhauling your life overnight. It is about beginning small acts of honesty, noticing what drains you, noticing what nourishes you. Maybe it is certain people, maybe it is your routine, maybe it is the version of yourself that is always trying to appear strong. Once you see those patterns, you can begin to release them. So what can someone do when they feel this kind of tired? The answer is not to push harder. The answer is not to find more motivation or discipline or grit. Those things are not the solution. They are part of what got you here. What actually helps is permission. Permission to rest without guilt. Permission to admit that you're not okay. Permission to stop performing strength when all you feel is exhaustion. It also helps to start noticing the small things that still reach you. Maybe it is sunlight through a window. Maybe it is a song that makes you feel seen. Maybe it is the way your morning coffee smells. These are not cures, but they are anchors, tiny reminders that you're still here and that being here still matters. Psychologists call these awe moments, small intentional experiences of wonder. People who regularly seek out awe report higher levels of life satisfaction and lower rates of burnout. Not because awe fixes anything, because it reconnects you with existence itself. You start to remember that life is not just a series of tasks to complete. It is also a sunset, a conversation, a quiet breath, and that remembering, as small as it is, can be the beginning of something. There is something beautiful about people who have been through emotional exhaustion. They often become deeply compassionate. They understand pain without words. They can sense when someone is struggling, even behind a smile. They speak more softly, love more deeply, and value honesty above everything else. Not because they are special, it's just that they have learned that pretending does not heal. They have sat in heaviness long enough to know that the only way through it is through it. And something in them changes. It humbles them. It strips away illusion. It reveals what is real. They begin to see that life is not just about achievement or constant motion. It is about alignment, finding space to breathe without pretending, and building a life that feels true, not just functional. And that shift from performing to being, from achieving to aligning, quietly changes everything. If you are watching this and something in you resonates, that invisible fatigue, that quiet ache, I want you to hear this. Your tiredness is not a flaw. It is a signal, a message from your mind that something in your life is no longer aligned with who you are. The tiredness is not the enemy. It is the messenger. And the moment you stop resisting it and start listening, something shifts. You become honest, not with the world, but with yourself. And that honesty, even when it feels heavy, is where healing begins. Because you cannot change what you refuse to name. And the fact that you can name it now, that is not weakness, that is courage. You do not need to fix everything at once. You do not need to force joy or fake energy. You do not need to have all the answers right now. All you need to do, just for now, is stop running from your tiredness and start hearing what it is trying to tell you. Because sometimes being tired of existing is not the end. It is the beginning of living differently. A life built on honesty, not performance. On rest, not exhaustion. On meaning, not momentum. And that kind of life, as quiet and slow as it might look from the outside, is worth waking up for. I hope you find a moment of peace today.